WOWT6. This is Heartland Focus.
Hey, good morning, and welcome to Heartland Focus. I'm your host, Tim Clark, and joining me later on is the President CEO of Empower Omaha, and we're going to be talking about really this transformation plan and really what's happening not only in the state, but also we're going to localize it in terms of the greater Omaha area, particularly some of your most stressed areas. The resources and the tools that will be in front of us to really try to have a pretty incredible impact. There is so many opportunities, but first of all, it's Halloween weekend, you guys, and so I always wanted to, I'm this big kid, 56-year-old, big old kid, so I got to do it a little bit. Trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. I tell you, I just love October when it, especially growing up as a kid. But I really want to encourage the parents out there and the young people that choose to venture out this weekend on your own. Really do it with an abundance of safety in mind, and still you have folks out there that they seek to disrupt these type of fun evenings for families and kids, and so please, as a community, as neighbors, let's look out and take care of one another. Right? I mean, this is about community. It's a fun night. We've all been challenged for the last 12 months with COVID-19. And so I don't know. My wife and I were talking. She was like, there's a lot more energy around Halloween this year. And we were just both concluded that I think people are just excited about coming together, dressing up, and especially when you have all this mental and physical drainage that's been on so many individuals and families due to the pandemic in terms of COVID-19. And so we have to proceed with caution and practice safety, especially with having that insidious virus still rearing his head. And so wearing your mask, hopefully you have kind of a costume mask on and all that good stuff. So be safe out there. Check your candy. I mean, just one-on-one kind of stuff. Check your candy before you eat it. Do not be walking and eating at the same time, especially if it's dark, you don't know what you're eating. So really take the time. And one of the things, what really the joy of the conclusion of my trick-or-treating back in the day is going upstairs in my room and just dumping all that candy on my bed and really going through putting my eyes and hands on every single piece of candy. And of course I threw away the apples. I'm a fruit guy, vegetable guy, but I just didn't want to take no chances with people doing anything crazy with fruits and that kind of thing. So so hopefully it's sealed in a wrapper. If it's not, if somebody trying to make some homemade brownies and putting them in a bag and just wrapping them up, I'm sorry. Me personally, I can't eat it. I can't eat it. It needs to be sealed, and make sure that your wrapper has not been tampered with in no way. If you see that it's open or it's cracked or thing like, you got about 200-300 pieces of candy, throw that one piece of candy away. Throw it away. As we get into what I want to talk about with our guests, there is an opportunity that's in front of us. You have Build Back Better funds that's hopefully will be passed, and dollars will start to trickling down to the state, to the local level. And you have the ARP funding. So you're going to have some enormous resources in this state. And I kind of put this challenge out before, but to our governor, Governor Pete Ricketts, to Mayor Gene Stother, and to our city council. Pete Festerson is the president. Then you have our commissioners. We have a big responsibility to do right by these fundings that are coming to this state. And to really, what I mean by that, first in should be the most that have been impacted in terms of COVID-19. So some of our most stressed areas, North and South Omaha, we should see a large concentration and being very intentional about some of those pain points that are taking place in those stress areas. This is an opportunity to make some things come true as far as really shifting and moving some more than adequate resources to deal with some of the challenges that community wake up every day and face. So I just know all of those entities that I called out, I know you're going to do right by some of the areas that are impoverished, economically challenged. We got our educational system. We have our juvenile justice. When you think about all the impact that COVID-19 has had on this community, there is an opportunity. The fun, grassroots organizations that's waking up and doing the work. This is the opportunity to create where they're not just in survival mode all the time, where we can move them to where they have the resources so they can scale up to have the necessary impact they really need to have. So I want to bring on now CEO of Empowerment Network that's been in the work and that's waking up every day doing the work. My man, Willie Barney, welcome to Heartland Focus, man.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it.
We'll do the brother man dap, boom. And I tell you, man, I guess this whole thing of COVID-19 has changed the game, and even really how we react, how do we interact with each other. But I just real quick, Willie, if you could, Empowerment Network, talk a little bit about mission, purpose, and vision that you guys have. I wish we had 2 hours. This is a 2-hour conversation that we're going to try to really condense into about 30 minutes or so.
All right. Well, I appreciate the invitation, Tim. I appreciate the work you're doing in the community. Appreciate the partnerships. It's been amazing. Believe it or not, September of this year marked 15 years since the Empowerment Network formed. We spent all that time over the next year to put together a detailed strategy of how we could work together as a community to move things forward, because we know that there's great things in Omaha. There's always been. But when we look around in specific zip codes and areas of poverty when it comes to African Americans, people of color, and others, we know that it's not been shared wealth, shared opportunity.
Yeah.
And so when we started back that 15 years ago, it was specifically looking at African Americans, looking at North Omaha, and how can we move the dial? How can we move the dial in education, employment, reducing violence, improving business ownership? And one of the things that's most positive is through collective work. This is not about one entity or one organization. It's about many different groups coming together to identify vision, using the data, identifying where we are, and then how do we collectively move the dial. And then right before the pandemic, David Droz, and some of the research he does, he came back.
He's been on my show.
He came back and he showed that over that time period before the pandemic hit us, we had reduced unemployment significantly through our employment programs. Graduation rates had improved, scores had improved. There's a lot of and then the other piece on violence prevention, before that time period, we had seen a 74% reduction in gun violence. So collectively, the Empowerment Network helps to facilitate the planning, bring those groups and organizations together to move the dial.
Wow. So really, when I'm just hearing you say, from over 15 years, you feel that we're in a better place?
Yeah, you can look. I was talking to a group, another city this morning, talking about some of the growth and development that's happened again pre-pandemic. Yeah, the pandemic has kind of wreaked havoc all across the country.
Oh man, it causes everybody to pivot.
Right. So, but before that, you can see again a 74% reduction in gun violence. You can see that the poverty rate, which is still way too high, but for African Americans, it went from 32% down to 22% as far as black families in the city. So there's progress, but there's always still more work to do.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
really what we're talking about now is even in the, so we had the progress, but then when you look at the impact of the pandemic, how do you get back on track? And then not only get back on track, finish the work. And that's
Yeah.
really what we're talking about now.
And so many people are saying too, Willie, that 2020 was kind of a lost year in terms of this whole notion that we got to get back on track. But there was, I think, there was a whole lot of lessons learned and caused a lot of people to pivot.
Yes.
And I think, I hate to say it, but there comes opportunities with pain.
Yeah,
and I think that's where we're at right now. And so what we're going to do, I want to jump into really what really is on the table that's in front of us that we have, I think, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that's in front of us to really make, we'll talk about the transformation plan, but really how to really have significant high-level impact on some of these things that you talked about. So we'll take a short break, and so be thinking about really just, and then to our viewers, also I want you to think about how can they help? Because at the end of the day, it's about a movement of the people.
That's right.
And particularly, I think people they have awakened to we business as usual is out the door.
Not gonna happen.
So, okay, we're gonna take a short break and let's talk about, we're going to hear from Willie Barney about really the transformation of really growth in some of our most challenged areas. Hear about some of the plans that they have that's right now in front of us that's on the table. Stay with me and I'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Willie, thanks again for taking the time, man. I wish we had more time, but let's jump in. Empowerment Network, you guys have really facilitated and led the way in terms of creating this transformation Omaha. Talk about that in terms of some of the focal points and area where you're at and where you want to go with that.
Yeah, the big part of that, it's a community-based plan, Tim. It's 8,000 plus people over these years that have provided input, engagement, forums, door-to-door, wherever we can get information from small businesses, neighborhoods, churches, youth. We polled 4,000 youth to put the plan together. Basically, what we did is then
that gives some credibility. That's a lot of people.
And it's not starting from scratch.
That's right.
But then we did go back in the midst of the pandemic and begin to ask even more questions based on that. And that's what's created this transformation plan. Literally 500 plus organizations, small businesses, many others. What's come out of it is, Tim, number one is people want to be able to support themselves. So with that comes employment. It comes with and wages that would support their family. Home ownership, reducing gun violence, improving educational standards. Also key corridors in North Omaha, 24th Street, 30th Street, Ames. Those are some of the things that have bubbled up out of the plan that says health also, obviously with the pandemic even more so. But those key areas, there are strategies with goals, with budgets, with measures, all tied together as a part of this transformation plan. One of the key examples, again, making sure that our youth understand career exploration, internships, entrepreneurship. Through our Step Up program, we've been able to introduce them to drones and construction, and some of our partners are now doing robotics and internships in different places. So each one of these areas that I just mentioned, there are partners, strategies, that people that can lift it up and accelerate it with the investment that you talked about. And I agree 100%, Tim. This is the single largest opportunity that we will have in a generation. This is it right here. We've got to maximize it.
So when you think about up and out of poverty, when people, some of our viewers and watching this, some of them look at North and South Omaha, particularly North Omaha being probably the most challenged. I mean, really, they look at the TV, they look at the crime and things like that, and it's like North Omaha. How do you really get people in North Omaha to thrive and to move up and out of poverty?
We always talk about collaboration, alignment, and investment. At the end of the day, over the last 4 or 5 decades, the language has been scale. You got to scale it up. The level of investment has to be increased, because what we've seen is when we have had some investment, you've seen graduation rates go up. You've seen our youth get employed, and we've seen adults go and then get higher wages, so they're not having to work 2, 3, 4 jobs. And that's something that we also need to talk about. When we talk about poverty, These are not people just sitting down and not working. These are people that are working 2 and 3 jobs
they're working.
that are still in
Poverty. That's
so
right.
a lot of this is increasing the wages, and what we always talk about is increasing the skill set that connects with those open jobs and opportunities that are around the city. So the state of Nebraska says, our unemployment rate's 2%, but we know there's people that are that want to be a part of this bigger pie. They're just not there right now. But we have seen people, when given the opportunity, when provided the training, they've been able to increase wages and go from 3 or 4 jobs down to at least a job that now they can support themselves, support their family, and being more engaged in what's going on with their own family, but also in the community.
To me, Willie, sometimes with all these programs and initiatives, it's like, that opportunity to scale up. It's like we don't go far enough in terms of just we want to get somebody up and out. They're working 3 jobs. What strategies around in terms of, in the scenario, I'm an individual, I'm working 2 or 3 jobs. I know I need to stop what I'm doing so I can go to Metro or get in a program so I can skill up to get my money up. I'm going to reach out to Dr. Cheryl Logan because I love what they're talking about in terms of career, that career focus and starting with the end in mind in terms of putting those young people on a path and identify a career up front.
Absolutely.
Talk about that a little bit because I think all this stuff we're talking about, if we don't figure out a way to do the training and the skill and incentivize, because I still got bills, Willie. I still got my oil need change. I don't got money to change it.
It's the beautiful thing about it is paid job training programs have been proven. I think it's like 85%, 90% success rate. When people are able to go through the training, they know that it's in a career category, that there's opportunity on the back end. They go through the certification program, they go through the training, and they're paid because if the car breaks down, or hey, I'm leaving these 2 jobs in order to go get this training because the classes are when they're, so there has to be some more payment during that process. It's the #1 priority in the transformation plan, a certified job training program that is paid as they're going through it. And the great thing is everybody benefits. There's an economic benefit. The employer that's looking for now has a skilled person, and the person that's coming into it, they've been able to go through that 6 month, that year, whatever the time it takes to get to that certification process, and now they're ready to go. Same thing with our youth, absolutely. What OPS has done under Dr. Logan's leadership, that career pathways, the academies, and then us as a community aligning with that strategy, making sure that there's a pathway and a pipeline for all of our kids. That's really what we're talking about now. And having the resources like MCC, like the Urban League, like Step Up, the other community partners that are part of that, working together to make that happen.
Yeah, you're kind of a testament to it. You just never get it done by yourself. As a collaborative, and really to the teachers, administrators, and the folks in terms of Omaha Public Schools, hat off, or just really gratitude for what they do and sacrifice. And really, they just can't do it by themselves. It's the village approach. Talk about the Step Up for people that don't know about that. Explain that a little bit, and really how that is being able to be impactful.
Yeah, we're headed into our 15th year. Started with 150, primarily just providing opportunities to North Omaha youth to get them engaged, get them a chance to explore what's available in their own city. And so we started with 150 over time. With the support of the mayor, with the support of the city, United Way, and others, we've been able to grow that program.
So the mayor has been a significant partner.
Huge, huge.
Yeah, I want to make sure that I point out the positive things. So in terms of Mayor Gene Stouther, big ups.
Huge.
Thank you for that genuine partnership with Step Up. It's not only is this just summer jobs?
It started this summer, and like you said, with the support of the mayor, with city council, now we can scale it up, and that's the key. We've shown the benefits, and matter of fact, the city has internships. So one of our young men, he's in aviation. He had an internship with the police department in aviation. People doing accounting, working in hospitals, and so that support from the city, then we're able to match that with other funds and put our young people to work, and then also create cohorts, drones, construction, all these other things that we're culinary, being able to create their own business. Entrepreneurship is a big part of Step Up now. So we basically recruit anywhere from 500 to 700, and we want to keep growing that. And we are in the process of converting it over 3 years ago, we started the process of converting it from a summer only to a year round, and that's where we can scale up. When we have coaches working with our young people along with the school district year round, making sure they're continuing to stay connected with that career interest or taking that business and taking it to the next level, even during the school year.
No, the city, they invest close to $1 million?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
$1 million.
So really the challenge, I mean, the city, I know you have some corporate partners too, but
Yes.
How can people help? How can we help make that scale it up even more so you can be more impactful?
And I want to mention United Way, and one of our largest private contributors is the Lakin Foundation. They've helped us not only in Omaha, but now looking to expand over into Council Bluffs. So they're doing a major support with that. But being able to scale it up, it's really now on the businesses. So we have people like American National Bank, CHI Health, UNMC, and others that they're bringing on the young people, giving them an internship, introducing them to an opportunity. And that's really what we need now. If the business community can continue to wrap around, use those as a model. American National Bank has been doing it for 14 years. They know what it takes. They know the type of wraparound support that to help our young people be successful. But we can point back to the young man that was in 9th grade, that in 10th grade he had an internship with the bank, that is now working in middle management here in Omaha, supporting his family, doing his thing. He had an interest in math, interest in finance, and look what he's doing. So we have thousands of examples like that. But if the business community continues to learn from those things that we've learned from, and that we can create this opportunity and keep our young people, keep our talent. They're bold, they're brilliant. They just need the opportunity. Open the door for them.
I see it as just a good business. You know, it just makes good business sense. You're talking about retention, attraction. The more we can engage our young people in these companies early on, because we talk of the chamber and even your organization, Urban League, they talk about brain drain, particularly people of color. What motivates them to stay here? Right. And I think early, so I commend you guys in terms of just connecting young people with this type of experience early and on in the game. So hopefully those companies, we can have more stories. Right. Like what's in American National that hired someone, they're in middle management now, and so on. Right. So in transformation plan, this is an opportunity to get that funded.
Absolutely.
And so what we talking about, what we talking about dollar wise that's out there? Sometimes you give it to the universe, you never know who's out there, right? We don't know who's out there in the universe that will take this and do what we're going to help nurture this and make it blossom.
Right. Our whole thing with transformation, Tim, is that over the next 5 to 10 years, we can close the gaps here economically, socially, but it's going to take a large-scale investment. Even back in the late 1960s, the Kerner report talked about the scale of investment, and that's what we're talking about. But we're going through education, employment, housing, entrepreneurship. Yeah. We want to not just use these dollars, but we want to use it to help create ownership and wealth so that we're moving forward as a whole community. Yeah. The economic benefit for the whole region is as we have a more equitable, diverse community, the economic impact is estimated at over $4 billion will be added to the economic activity here in the city of Omaha. So there's a lot of benefit to it. So each one of the areas from employment, the Skill Up program we've been talking about, in partnership with Urban League, in partnership with Metropolitan Community College and others, that's about an $8 million investment that's needed to scale up that particular part. We have a budget for Step Up. We want to expand it more to a year-round, more opportunities.
Because you're impacting how many kids now?
Yeah, right now, our highest level we had in 2019, we had 700 youth that we worked with in that 1 year. Over the last 14 years, it's getting close now to 7,000 youth that we have connected to their first employment opportunity. So we've learned from that. We can scale it.
So you're thinking about $8 million to really year-round to kind of scale it up in terms of what you need there.
Yeah, because that includes, people don't realize, that includes the wages for the youth as well. So that's where the number is. Coaches, 1 to 25 ratio. So but that's what I wanted to express, because there's a lot of details to each one of the legs of the program. But there are specific budgets, specific tangible projects. We haven't talked a lot about 24th Street, 30th Street.
That's right.
There's some good things starting to bubble up, some things happening. Supporting those businesses, first of all, but then also having resources that are aligned. And one of the things you said at the beginning, Tim, is that the federal government, these funds that are coming in through ARPA, they are specifically designated for zip codes that have higher poverty, higher unemployment. So it's a responsibility of the city, the county, state.
That's right.
And I'm hearing really positive things and moving in that direction where dollars will be aligned to those zip codes. We need to make sure that those community-based agencies, small businesses that are working in those communities are the ones that benefit, and that benefit then the people that live there.
That's awesome. I need to take a quick break, and when we come back, let's wrap up and talk about really just you know, kind of what's next, and really how people can help. Hey, we're going to take a short break. I'll be right back. Hey, Willie, man, thank you for coming, man. We're out of time already. You got 30 seconds, man. How do we make this thing better, and how people get involved?
Biggest thing is I would point people to empoweromaha.com. They can see the transformation plan, and there's also an opportunity for them to continue to provide feedback. But this is an opportunity for us to really maximize the biggest opportunity we've had right now, this generation right now.
And people can be involved in that movement, and it is a movement, and we all collectively can do something to make it better. Right on. Hey, that's all for this episode of Heartland Focus. Take the time to be good to yourself. Hey, you know, hug somebody from afar, do it safely, do your dance to your beat, to your rhythm, you guys. Take the time to lean forward, reach out. Unconditional love and really random acts of kindness. That's our theme. Do something for somebody and do it randomly. All right? I'm out. Tim Clark. Have a great Halloween.